Welcome back to the Seven Figure Flipping Podcast. Today's episode is absolutely insane. This is a question we get all the time, and I know you're thinking about it if you want to get into real estate. Should I flip houses or should I buy rentals? Well, you're going to have to stay tuned till the end to find out what the answer is. Okay, here's the thing. It's not a dichotomy, meaning this versus that. These are two totally different things. And let me talk you through each one. House flipping is an active business. It is a faster money play. Rentals is a long game and an investing. So let's break down each. Okay, house flipping, what is it? First off, if you don't know, welcome to a flipping podcast where I talk about house flipping and wholesaling and buying houses and making active money and some rentals. House flipping is when you buy a property that the condition is distressed and you fix it up, make it really nice, and you sell it, and then you make money. It's typically a 3 to 6 month process for flipping houses. Here's some of the pros. Okay. First off, quick cash profits. I mean, like I said, in many of these podcasts, it can be $30,000 to $50,000 net, and like $50,000, a lot of money. Like that's some people's salary. You could do one house flip, make 50 grand. I'm not telling you to go quit your job, but man, if you do 3 or 4 of these a year, you're making $200,000. It could replace your active income. It's really important distinction. It is an active activity. And you might think, well, how could I do this? I have a job. I built a 7-figure business doing these things while being an active duty Marine. I promise you, you can do it too if you have the right systems and processes and people in place. There's no long-term commitment in house flipping. So in house flipping, I'm not going to keep the property. I'm not going to have tenants. I'm not going to have property management. I'm not going to have all of those headaches. I'm going to fix that. I'm going to buy the house. I'm going to fix it up. I'm going to sell it, and I'm going to make a profit. The cool thing about this as an active business is it can scale insanely high. We have people in our community doing over 100 house flips a year because they have a system in place and multiple millions of dollars. Totally active. It's not. Here's some of the cons though. Here's what it's not. It comes with risk, like any investing. If you invest in the stock market, it has risk. What are some of the risks you should be thinking about? Do you have a good market? Is my market going to change? One of the key indicators for a good market is population growth. If people are moving there, they need houses. You can literally just Google population growth, this city or this county or this state, to see if people are moving there. That's number one. You want to be in a good market. Otherwise, you are increasing risk. The other thing is it's heavily taxed, right? You get short-term capital gains tax. It can eat in your profits if you don't have a good system and process to plan for taxes. There's no passive income. Once you fix the house up and you sell it, then you make all that money. You can make hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars doing this, but there's no passive income. You have to keep doing it. And then it does require a team. So you do have to build a team. You need contractors, you need agents, you need realtors, you need title companies. You need all these people involved in real estate. Okay. So if you want to replace your active income, you're feeling super stuck in your job, you're just kind of tired of the same old, house flipping is a great tool to get involved in that. And if you're listening to this podcast, you probably are interested in real estate. Okay, let's talk about buying rentals, right? What does that mean? A rental is simply just a house you buy that you don't live in, that you rent out for a monthly fee to a tenant. Okay, get some cash flow, get some long-term appreciation. This does create some semi-passive income. It's never fully passive. Now, we work on our rental portfolio maybe 2 hours a month. We've got really good systems in place. We've got really good cash flow on our assets, but it does take a little bit of time, effort, and energy. So it is semi-passive. It does have much better tax advantages though, because you can depreciate those assets over 27 and a half years. Normally, you could also do a cost segregation and pull that depreciation forward if you're going to make a lot of money in a single year. So that's super powerful. The other cool thing about rentals is it does help you to actually build wealth because you hold on to that rental. In a flip, you sell it and all that equity comes back to you and you make profits. In a rental, you have equity in the house. And what I mean by equity is, let's say you have a loan for 100,000 and you're paying on that loan and your value of the house is 200,000, you have $100,000 of equity. So that's counting towards your net worth. That's going to help you get other loans. That's going to help you buy apartments and all these other things. So it builds your wealth. Not only that, your tenants are paying rent, which is ultimately paying on your mortgage payment, which is paying down your debt. So if you bought that same house for 100K over 30 years, somebody else is paying that debt down, and that debt allowed you to get that asset for very cheap. The other crazy thing about the real estate market is, just like the stock market, over decades, the values are going to increase with inflation. The houses are not going to, they might dip in a downturn, but if you look over 10, 20, 30, 40 years of the real estate market, that is an ascending number. So you're getting debt pay down, you're getting appreciation, and you could be getting cash flow. And inflation is happening, meaning things are becoming more expensive. Your dollar's worth less, 2, 3, 4% a year. Real estate allows you to hedge against inflation. Here's the downside of rentals. It's not going to make you rich fast. It's not going to get you a bunch of money. It's slow money. You might get a net cash flow of a couple $100 a month, which isn't going to be life-changing for most. The other downside of rentals is tenants and maintenance. It can be a labor. When you get a bad tenant in there, you have to evict them, or they're always putting in maintenance requests and you got to always send people out there, which is eating into your cash flow and your profits. And then another downside could be that you have a bunch of your capital tied up in there. Even if it's cash flowing really well, somebody's paying down your debt and it's appreciating. And let's say you have $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 in equity in the property. You may get to a point where your return on equity is, meaning, let's say that thing's making you $6,000 net a year, but you have $200,000 or $100,000 in equity, and you're only getting a 6% return on equity. If you have $200,000 in equity, you're only getting a 3% return on equity. Then you start to think, well, could I get more if I sold this house, took that $200,000 and put it into something else? I bet you could get something better than 3% in terms of return on equity. And then lastly, it's also market dependent. Now, flipping is short-term, 3 to 6 months. The market doesn't change too much in 3 to 6 months. But in a rental market that you're going to hold on to for potentially 5, 10, 30 years, you're going to have ups and downs. When the market goes down, you're going to be kind of stuck holding on to that property until the market improves and you want to sell it. So if you want long-term wealth and cash flow, rentals, if you want to replace your active income, then you go to flipping. Okay, that's my comparison on rentals versus flipping. I do both. I use one for wealth building and one for active income. That, to me, I love real estate, like shelter, water, and food. People need it. They got to have a place to live. That's not going to change. And until somebody comes and disrupts how we live and how we get houses, like, it's here for the long term. I think it's more safe personally than being in the stock market. If I go invest in Tesla or Apple right now, I have zero control over that company, how they make decisions, what products they put out, what they do. And most people think stock market is just the safe play. But to me, stock market is risky. Whereas real estate, I buy a house, people need to live in it no matter what. And I control the asset compared to not controlling the stock market. So I like to use both of these tools to build wealth. And I think you can do that too if you learn how to build it as a system, if you learn how to make it work for you. Okay, thanks for tuning into this episode. Real quick before you leave, do me a favor. It takes 2 minutes. Leave us a 5-star review. Let us know what you liked about this. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Click the like button. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. I'll see you on the next one.